So who are these people? Just normal people. Most of them are men, about 90%. There are women that sexually abuse children, but it's mostly men. Most of them identify as a heterosexual male, normal guy. And they're in every background. There's a tendency for people to make stereotypes, depending on their position in life. They'll think that this only happens, in a trailer park. This only happens in the ghetto. This only happens in a barrio. This only happens in a horrible place. No, it happens everywhere, as we've talked about earlier. Most of these guys are not known to the authorities. They have no criminal records, and they're not monsters. They're not scary when you look at them. They act pretty normal, and there's no checklist. So really, the only thing you can do is look out for red flags and monitor how adults and older kids behave around children. And so, as we continue here, you'll see that we really think it's important to understand how these guys think. They're guys most of the time. And that's the best way to keep our children safe. And that's how we're able to determine the red flags. And here's another good one, another joke, just to lighten it up a bit. I'm disappointed. If anyone should have seen the red flags, it's you, right? And that's kind of what we think here. That's the parent, right? Bulls are colorblind. Anyway. So this is a really fascinating thing about this organization. One of the things that we did was we were able to find some white papers that had interviews with child molesters who are all in prison. And part of their offender treatment program had them writing lists of ways that they get access to children. And so these are direct quotes from a group of about 30 people who all gave quotes on how they gain access to children. Pay attention to the child, make him or her feel special. I go out of my way to buy treats or gifts. Isolate the child, involving them in fun activities to be together alone. Prey on your fears about your child lacking a father figure. That's a huge one for single moms. These are all red flags that we talk about above. The person who has got the career involved working with children, then they spend their free time helping children or taking them on special outings. Often these guys will touch the child in your presence as a parent, so that your kid thinks, oh, this person's touching me and my parents think it's okay. And that, could be anything. Hugs, really touchy kind of guy, right in front of the parents, they often do this. And then they groom safe families, people whose children they don't molest, to build support in the event that this stuff comes and rises up. So here's another couple of quotes. This is ways from getting caught. Convince the child they're responsible for the behavior. Make them think that no one will believe them. Tell your child that the parent will be disappointed, so disappointed for what the child has done. Threaten the child with physical violence. It's more rare, but it does happen. Make your child feel sorry. The fathers tend to meld their proclivity to molest in with the normal things. So they might use bath time or bedtime to touch the kids sexually. And they're good. They're good at what they do. They manipulate the children to protect them. So what should we watch out for? Well, P.A.X.A parents really just monitor anyone who has access to children. It doesn't matter who they are. If they have access to children, there's a few things that we should monitor. And these guys depend on secrecy, deception, and denial. Secrecy is something that'll happen where they'll create secrets with the child. And that's part of the grooming process. What they'll do is they'll say, don't tell your mom, I'm giving you some ice cream. And they'll do these little things, depending on the age of the child, of course, where they'll build that trust level of having secrets. And then over time, they'll build up and they'll do more things that have to do with the deception component. And the deception component is where, for instance, this gal Leah, who I knew from high school, would work out at the YMCA with the victim. And so that's part of the deception. We're just working out, working on special exercises and things like that, part of the deception. And then, of course, denial is what occurs when parents and decision makers kind of have their head in the sand and they're really not paying attention and they don't want to see what's actually happening in front of them. So, kind of to wrap it up, but towards the end here, the P.A.X.A parents are proactive. They educate themselves, and they educate their children. P.A.X.A parents know that both parents and children have to monitor for red flags, and children have to be comfortable enough to tell their parents, hey, something strange happened today. And the parent needs to ask questions like, tell me about that. instead of, oh, nothing happened, oh, he's a nice guy, oh, he goes to our church. Parents need to change the tone in the way we talk to our children about that stuff. And ultimately, we P.A.X.A parents know that it's better to trust our gut and be wrong than to ignore red flags and worry. And this is the website. It's going to get bigger and it's going to get better.